Okay, so now we continue the build with the links and bag C, which I have already opened. And I've already gone ahead and done the first part of the instructions for this. I've already gone ahead and done the front axle. As you can see, I've put the, hold on, let me get that focus. I've put the spacer in right there, put the screw through, and put the eyelet in the little loop here. And so there we have the top of the 3-link for the front. And I've already attached the drive shaft. You just put a little set screw. And to do that, I've already done it on the rear too, but to do that, what you do is you just get some pliers, grab onto the part of the bevel gear, and just pull it out so make sure it's as far as you can go. Then just slide the set screw in there and then screw it in place. So now we continue with the rear, which I haven't done yet. So what you want to do is you want to get these. Alright, so there we have all 4 of the links. And so what you want to do, sorry about that. What you want to do is you want to get the 2 shorter ones, I believe. Yeah, 2 shorter ones. And you want to get your eyelets, which I have right over here. You want to get your eyelets from the plastic bag. And let me just move that out of the way. And then what you want to do is you want to get, how many of these? It looks like 4 of these for now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there we have 4 of them. And so what you want to do is you want to get your links and just pop these through here, yeah. Alright, so once you have the 4 eyelets in the links, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get this very long screw. There's only 1 of them. Yeah, and then you want to get this. And on the 4 links here, you're also going to need one of these washers that comes in bag C. And you're going to want to get this like so. And put the thicker end in between here, like this, and get this one the same way. And I suggest just going from one side and just threading it through one at a time, like that. And then you just want to add the second one onto it, like that. And there, you see, it goes all the way through. And then you just get the nut like this, and I'm just going to thread that through. Okay, so once you have that done, what you want to do is you want to get this little nut, and you want to thread this onto here. Okay, there's no need to over tighten that, but just make sure it's good. Okay, so as you can see, that is done, and I have 2 links done for the rear. And then what I'm going to want to do next in the instructions is to start building these aluminum links here. Alright, so to start building these aluminum links, I'm just going to start with the front ones, which are the shorter of the 2, the 98 millimeters. Right there, I'm going to start with these shorter ones. And then what you want to do is get eyelets, which I will get right now. Okay, so what you want to do is get this tree of eyelets and rod ends. And then I'm just going to cut off 4 of these. Alright, so now that I've cut off 4 of them right there, what I want to do is get one of these set screws that comes in bag C with the rest of this stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just thread it in the eyelet first, because this way there's no way I can overturn it into here, and that way I'll end up just losing the screws. So I'm just going to line that up. Okay, so I just discovered that you have to stop about halfway because I don't know if you guys can see, but it went all the way through there. So after I have that, what I want to do is just get the metal rod and just hand turn it in. This is pretty easy actually. Okay, so I've cleaned up this eyelet, and so now I'm just gonna do the same thing with the other 3 eyelets, and then when I'm done I'll just cut it back to this. Okay, so now that I finished both of these, you just have to do the same exact thing with the rear basically. So I'm just gonna do that right now. Okay, so as you can see, I've done all 4. And one little tip that I might just tell you, or I'll just tell you, is you just want to try to get the amount of thread left on the grub screws the same between both screws, so that way it lines up. Okay, so next, all we have to do is just get 8 of these little eyelets. Okay, so there we have 8 of these eyelets. Now I'm just going to pop them in. Okay, so there we have 4 completed links, and flipping the page in the instruction manual, what we have to do next is attach the links. I am getting the front axle here. I'm going to put these in the back a little bit, and what I want to do according to this diagram is get 2 of my shocks. Let me get 2. Alright, 2 shocks. Those are nice, and they have all the oil and stuff in them. So what I'm going to do with this is get one of these 4 screws that came in the bag. See with the rest of this stuff. Okay, so what I want to do is get the screw itself and slide it through here, and then attach the shock. And then I want to attach the link. Okay, so there, I have that done, and then I want to get one of these little nuts and just thread it on to there. As you can see, the suspension works, and so does the link. And then I'm just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So now here we have this front side done with shocks and everything, and we'll just move on to the rear side now. Okay, so here we have the rear axle laid out with all the shocks and links and everything. And so what you need to do to assemble this is basically the same as the front. So what you do, I'll just demonstrate right now, is you get this shock and you get one of these screws, and first you slide it through the provided hole, and then with the eyelet facing out you slide this through, and while that's lined up in there, you're gonna have this one with the eyelet facing out slid in next to it with the holes lined up, and then I'm just gonna get my driver and bit and slide the whole thing together. Okay, so there I slid it through, and the next thing you want to do is you want to get this little hex nut and pop this on the end and just tighten the whole assembly. Okay, so now that I have one side done, I'm just going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Okay, so there we have it, a completed front and rear axle. But there is still one more step that I want to do right now, and that is attach the servo mount and the steering links to the front axle. So let's get to that. Okay, so the parts needed to make the front servo link are in bag E. Okay, so these are the parts you need to assemble the plate where the servo will sit, and I'll just build this right now. Okay, so the next thing to do is to get the front axle and get the 3 screws that come in this bag, 2 of which are longer and 1 is shorter. And then you want to get the servo mount as I drop it on the floor. You want to get the servo mount. Focus. You want to get the servo mount, and you want to line it up, and then you want to get the 2 longer screws on the end of your driver, or one of the 2, and line it up with this and screw this into place. And next you want to do the other 2 screws right here. And now we just have to get the servo. Okay, so since I have a Hitec servo, what I'm going to want to use is this 24 number 24 servo horn or whatever, and I just want to pop that on the top of here. Okay, so now that the Hitec servo has the proper servo horn on it, we're just gonna lay it in there and screw it in with 4 screws. You want to use these screws with the large tip around them, and you just want to screw them in to here. Okay, so now that we have the servo all mounted, it's time to move on to the steering linkages. Okay, first things first, you get the actual steering linkages, and what you want to do is get these grub screws and screw them into the eyelets that you need for these. Okay, so one thing I should mention is that on the longer linkage you're going to use these angled eyelets instead of the straight ones that go on the shorter linkage. Okay, so once you have the 4 eyelets, you just want to screw them in. Okay, so here we have the 2 linkages fully assembled, and now that's all that's left to this video is attaching them to the axles. Before we can attach them to the axles, we have to make sure to attach these eyelet things to them. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Okay, so now that we have all the eyelets in place, all that's left to do is to screw everything together.